What's up guys, welcome back to another Mail Sack Breakdown. This week we have a proper mail sack and not just Bungie trolling us. If you watched last week's mail sack, then you know what I'm talking about. So let's get right into it. The first question this week comes from Son of the Shire, and he asks, if we ask questions about Destiny, will we actually get proper answers, or are you still not allowed to talk about most of it yet? And Bungie basically replied with, well, we're no longer dark, it can't exactly be said that we're burning bright either, saying that their hands are on the dimmer switch and they'll be slowly turning up the heat over the coming months. Once again reiterating what Joseph Staten said at GDC, which was, see you at E3. Moving on, the next question comes from Enwraith, or however you pronounce it, and he asks, when Destiny comes out, will we encounter Bungie employees while we're adventuring like you? Bungie replied, most certainly. Have you ever heard that we make the games that we want to play? Destiny is being designed to deliver chance encounters on the road to adventure, so you can expect that some of our encounters will be with you. So that's pretty cool, but in my opinion the coolest part about this question is that the guy who asked it is actually a regular here on the channel. I believe he subscribed back when we were around 500 subscribers or so, and I see his comments all the time, so that's pretty epic. I believe that's actually the second time someone who watches my videos has gotten a question answered. Anyways, moving on, Greedy39 asks, is the competitive side of Destiny getting as much work put into it as the campaign/live world, or is it more of an afterthought? Bungie replied, Destiny will provide you with activities for every mood. Sometimes you'll want to form up a fire team to rout the Cabal from the buried city on Mars. Which actually, as a side note, we keep hearing about the Cabal on Mars. So I think it's safe to assume that the Cabal basically run the planet. And actually, continuing with that, it sounds like the Vex are in control of Venus, just from the other things we've heard. If that is the case and it's basically one race per planet, it'll be really interesting to see which planets are controlled by the other races. Anyways, back to the answer, they said, other times you'll want to battle against your fellow players to see who's the fairest guardian of them all. So it definitely sounds like the competitive side is important to them and it's not just an afterthought. Moving on, this next one I found quite interesting. It comes from Bolt, and he says, I want to buy the PS4 now that Bungie makes games for PlayStation, but I'm worried that it will effectively mean that I'm starting with a blank slate. How will this affect everything that I've achieved with Halo? Now the final part of the answer here really interested me, when he said, the great feats you achieved in Halo may yet impact your legacy as a player of Bungie games. We still have a database with billions of rows of player data, and we're not afraid to use it. So it sounds like they may somehow implement your old Halo stats and achievements into Destiny. Now how exactly they would do that and what exactly it would mean I'm not sure, but it's still cool nonetheless. Continuing on, Hylaboss asks, human, awoken, or exo, and why? Now all the answers were kind of interesting, but I was mainly interested in the final one. It comes from Christopher Barrett, and he said, exo Warlock. An ancient, rusted war machine in a tattered robe who wields unknown amounts of power and carries a shotgun. Does it really need explanation? Now the main reason I thought this was interesting is because he described them as an ancient, rusted war machine. So that means that each exo unit essentially has been around for a long time, and I thought that was worth pointing out. Now the final question I found worth mentioning this week comes from Jakai, and he asks, are you going to show a new trailer at E3, or at least some game footage? And DJ replied, you're gonna have to wait for E3 to see what we have planned. All we can tell you is that it's a show you won't want to miss. So definitely stay tuned for E3 coming up in early June. Still a couple months down the road, but not too far away. So that's all the most interesting points in this week's mail sack. If you want to read the full thing, there's a link in the description as usual. Anyways, if you aren't already, be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the latest Destiny news, as well as mail sack breakdowns like this one every week. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next update.